I'd like to call the, oh,
Sorry. Something's happening.
this is picking up. We're getting echo into this. Something isn't, just a little technical. Okay, there we go. I'd like to call the June 9th, 2021 Board of Selectmen's meeting to order at 6:30. Mr. Pinio, do we have a need for a non-public session?
Good evening, Madam Chairperson. We do. RSA 91A3, Roman numeral 2, lowercase e, pending litigation, and lowercase c, reputation.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda are minutes, and we have none. So I'd like to open up the public hearing as part of the cable franchise renewal process between the town of Wolfeboro, New Hampshire, and Atlantic Broadband NH-ME LLC, pursuant to NHRSA 53-C:3-A. The Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on the proposal for renewal of the cable television franchise agreement. The people could have gotten copies of this by going to the town hall from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. This hearing is being broadcast on Zoom, and all members of the Board of Selectmen are present. I'm going to open the public hearing. Mr. Pinio, do you want to start this off for us?
Sure, Madam Chairperson. I'm going to take a few minutes and go through some information. I'm going to share my screen so that people out in the public are able to see. Couple of things that would be might be helpful for the general public. If you go to the Town of Wolfeboro webpage and you go to Boards and Commissions, and I'm scrolling through this now so you can see, and then if you scroll down on the left-hand side to Cable Franchise Committee and you open up that link, down the left-hand side of that link, there is a series of documents that might be interesting for people to read, which also includes the previous or the current contract and the proposed contract going forward. With that said, I'm going to now change over to a different presentation. Just give me a second. And the board members should have this in front of them. To give a little bit of background, first I'd like to take a moment to thank some of our citizens. We're not done working yet, but I'd like to go through and recognize the members of our community who have helped us navigate through this. Peter Schneider, Timothy Goodwin, Lynn Hinchy, Marshall Goldberg, Beverly Woods, David Wells, our citizens who have helped on this project. Currently, we have 2 Board of Selectmen representatives on this, Luke Freudenberg and Brian DeShays. Also with us tonight in the audience live this evening is Paul O'Brien. Paul was previously the Board of Selectmen member that was assigned to this committee and really got this project running and went through a lot of work with Atlantic Broadband and the committee. So I'm going to go ahead and go navigate through these slides, and we've got members of the committee who are live and online this evening. The thought process going forward is we'll take some input this evening, what we received from input from the community. We got more work to do with Atlantic Broadband. At some point in the future, we'll invite Atlantic Broadband back in for a public hearing to be able to answer further questions. and then determine at what point we should sign the contract. Some people may be aware that the contract does expire next week. It's not a problem. We will continue to work under the existing contract until a new contract is signed. So there's no threat of them shutting services off for the town not having a contract. So to go through some of this information, and some of this is dated, but there's 170 miles of cable plant in the town of Wolfeboro, about 40 miles of fiber optic cable. There's a total of 3,656 cable subscribers, which has increased since that time, going to 3,982 homes. 82% of the town has gigabit access. And the bottom of this slide talks about Warren Sands Road. That construction's complete. So Atlantic Broadband was able to complete that. Also, last week, Browns Ridge Road, that was completed. So people who live in that part of the community should be able to have services of high-speed internet if they so choose. A little bit more background. The cable franchise agreement with Atlantic Broadband is due for renewal this year. That's why we're here discussing this. The cable franchise team, which we introduced, was put together. CARES Act funding came forward. We were able to use some of that funding to help offset some of the costs, or the providers were. In September, there was a bunch of data sent to Atlantic Broadband. At that time, Paul O'Brien and I were having numerous conversations with Atlantic Broadband and other providers of services, including wireless. December 1, customer surveys were sent out in the electric bills and online. Those summaries were put together by Beverly Woods, our IT associate, and we reviewed those with the cable franchise team and Atlantic Broadband. There was a lot of verbatim comments that came out of that, and we were able to sit down with Atlantic Broadband and go through some of those issues that were coming in front of us as a community. Those surveys taken, there was over 1,100 responses, which is about 30% of the base. 100 pages worth of verbatims, with some of the key observations being lead time for the call centers. Atlantic Broadband has made a commitment to try and reduce the lead times on telephone calls, and they've done a good job. They've got more work to do, but they certainly have made improvements. Outage statuses, they're working on that. They know they've got some issues there. Billing accuracy, repair services, and price and competitive alternatives were also discussed. The verbatims are put up on the website. I'm not going to go through these verbatims. This is just a slide which outlines the data associated with that, but it is available on the website for people to read. So going forward, where we're at today, we have the draft contract in hand. It's in legal counsel's hands being reviewed at this time. We have been actively speaking with Atlantic Broadband of some of the concerns which the cable franchise team have brought forward. Some of those we continue to negotiate and work with Atlantic Broadband on the proposed contract. Have another time frame when Atlantic Broadband can come in and address some of those concerns directly to the citizens, and answer any questions the board may have as well. That kind of sums up where we're at this point. I'm not sure if any members of the cable franchise team who are here would like to speak, or Mr. O'Brien, based on his involvement with this. With that said, Madam Chairperson, I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak to this public hearing and this franchise agreement with Atlantic Broadband? I did receive one email. It was from a person who uses Atlantic Broadband, and says that their service is down 20 to 40 minutes intervals of outage almost every afternoon and evening. Many days, maybe most days, there may be 3 to 4 such periods during a 24-hour period. So I will put this into our record. I'm not reading the whole thing, but that's the essence of this email.
May I address that?
Sure.
Yeah, so one of the things that I would like to say to our citizens, a chronic issue like that, if you are having chronic issues that are being problematic for you in your services, please reach out to Town Hall. Get a message to myself or to Amy, and we have a contact that we can reach out to try and alleviate that problem. Obviously, we want you to work through the natural chain through Atlantic Broadband, but if you are running into chronic issues, we do have a contact that we can work with to help alleviate that going forward. And I think that's a key component for the citizens to know. Try to work it out on your own with Atlantic Broadband. If you are experiencing chronic problems, we would like to know about it, and we can put you in touch with the right people to hopefully have some corrective measures taken.
Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience, either a member of the committee or a member of the public? Come on up to the microphone, state your name for the record.
Jean Mitchell, and I just wonder is there any other company that has shown interest in coming into Wolfeboro, another cable company? It seems, we have no choice. I think that's one of the big things, that they can just charge us, whatever they want. There's no competition. So I just wonder, how do you go about doing that? Has anybody approached us or whatever? Thank you.
So I think one of the things that we can say about this is, based on the verbatims that we received, we did have legal counsel review those to determine, is there a reason to completely do away with Atlantic Broadband? The answer came back, no, there isn't. We agree that competition is a good thing, and we're trying to negotiate some things with Atlantic Broadband to open up the door to that, but those are items to be negotiated.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak to this? We'd love to hear from you, Paul.
Paul O'Brien. First of all, thanks for inviting me tonight, and I appreciate all the hard work that the Cable Committee people have done. I see David Wells out there somewhere in TV land, and Beverly here. To answer the question about competition, the way things work in rural America is there ain't much competition. And that's just a fact. You have the telephone company, then you got the cable company, and then you have wireless companies. And the telephone company here is Consolidated Communications, and they've had an opportunity to do things in terms of increasing their speeds, but the way in which they've gone about doing it, at least in the New England area, is they ask cities and towns to pay for that. And in fact, up in down in Keene and in other places, the citizens have been asked to come up with millions of dollars to do that. And that's just their model. That's their model. The cable company has a franchise to operate in just about every city and town in the state, across the United States. And they're highly regulated at the federal level. So their ability to set prices, their ability to do customer service is really, in many ways, set up by federal regulations. So they do have kind of an interesting precedence in terms of the way in which they operate. Having said that, the days of their ability to be the only provider in town, in my personal opinion, are about to come to an end. And they're going to come to an end because we now have wireless opportunities that are coming to us here in New Hampshire as well as other places. And my good friend Mr. Senecal knows all about wireless opportunities. You will see more and more coming into Wolfeboro wireless opportunities, which will give you the ability to buy internet-only service at home. I have a place down in Boston, and I spend $60 a month, and I get internet-only service at my house, wirelessly. Now, that doesn't give me TV channels. You know, if I want to get TV, I got to get Hulu or, you know, that other stuff. But I basically want a high-speed internet connection. I want to watch Netflix and do Prime Video. That's coming to Wolfeboro soon, okay? But there's no way to directly legislate bringing in more competitors other than taking the barriers of entry down and allowing competition to come into this town. And I think that the Cable Committee and I think this Board of Selectmen has done a pretty good job being honest with Atlantic Broadband where their shortcomings are, but also telling Atlantic Broadband if they don't fix them, then it's up to them to lose their customers because they have 92%, 94% of all the customers now. And if they can't get their act together, which I hope they will, they're going to lose you know, some slug of their customers. So I'll stand by for any questions, but competition is the only way in which you're going to get better prices. It's the only way it's going to happen. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who's in the audience or watching on Zoom or no, GoToMeeting have any comments for us? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Board members, do you have any questions, comments, either for Jim or for anybody, members of the committee? I guess we're all satisfied.
Yeah, I don't think we have much choice right now.
So,
We will have, as Paul said, in the future, certainly. I don't think it's too long, too far away.
and we're here today just to get public hearing. We're going to take no action tonight. We're not being asked to vote on anything. This means that the contract will stay intact and we'll just keep on going forward until such time we're finishing negotiating and we have a new contract that the committee feels is acceptable, and then it'll come to the Board of Selectmen. But as Jim said before that, we want to bring Atlantic Broadband in and have them address the answers to the survey questions where they were given a less than positive rating, and let the public hear what they're going to do. I think that's only fair that we give them the opportunity. So is there anything else anybody wants to say? If not, I'll move on with the agenda. All righty. Next item on the agenda is public input. We're on a roll here. Is there anybody in the public who'd like to give us any input? Nope, we're quite a bunch today. Other business. First of all, I'd like to inform the public, if they haven't seen it already, we have the dive teams in Back Bay pulling milfoil. They are not using a dash equipment, the suction harvesters. They're individual divers going down and are going to specific spots. We have a map that has the spots on it. Those spots were done by Amy Spagula of DES, and she verified we had gone out and thought we found a spot or two. She was able to show us we had more, and that's going on. They were in yesterday in Back Bay. They were in today, and I haven't heard yet whether they're going to be back in tomorrow or whether they're done. On June 24th, we're going to have Percellacor, which is a chemical sprayed into, or put into, the frog pond. This is the one area with all the chemical treatments we've done, we cannot get under control. Again, this was identified by Amy Smagula of New Hampshire DES. She went in there and saw that it is out of control, so we're going to try one more time on that. And the milfoil committee's processes, we first do whatever we can by hand. And our last option is to put in the chemicals. And we put in the chemicals. We had very little regrowth after a spring application last year. We came back, we went out, some of the committees, and we started to see it. That's why we're getting the people in diving. If we can clear that and keep it under control by bringing divers in, we'll do it now. If we have more, we'll bring them back in August, and we'll do that until such time that it's out of control again and we have to put chemicals. And we're on probably 15, 20 years we've been doing this, and that's the process that we've been using. So that is June 24th for the Frog Pond. I also would like to have Brian update us on the fireworks, because I think we have a rain date now.
Yes, so talking with Wolfeboro Jet Ski Rentals, who was good enough to go out and secure a date of July 2nd to have fireworks. And as a board and as a town, we partnered with him to support him in the fireworks. And based on what we know, it's going to be the largest display Wolfeboro has ever had. We needed to set a rain date just in case the 2nd has a stormy night or something. So the rain date is for July 5th, 2021 at 9:30 p.m. July 5th, 2021 at 9:30 p.m.
And I think we need a motion to add that to our other motion. Does anybody have a motion?
I have a motion.
Good, Brian.
I make a motion to approve a rain date for the previously approved July 2nd fireworks partnership between Wolfeboro Jet Ski Rentals and the town of Wolfeboro. The rain date to be July 5th, 2021 at 9:30 p.m.
Second. And Luke seconds that. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Brad?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Linda's yes?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes, okay. Everybody, that's unanimous. We now have a rain date. And thank you for Brian's work on this and Wolfeboro Jet Skis. We're very thankful that they took the lead in this first. Mr. Pinio, do you have anything to add tonight?
No, I will just add that I do have the contract in hand for the fireworks display. I have been communicating with Nate Druin of Wolfeboro Jet Skis, and I will get the contract signed tomorrow and off to the display company.
And it's for how much is the town paying?
The town's portion is $7,500, and Wolfeboro Jet Ski is $7,500.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda again is public input. Do I have any public input? Go right on up.
I'm sorry, Paul O'Brien again. And maybe you already got this one, but something I was a little remiss on. When we wrapped up the conversations with Charter Communications to build out the Browns Ridge Road area, Village Corner of Browns Ridge Road area, we asked them and Atlantic Broadband to work together so that our good friend Wolfeboro Community TV can hook up and provide service not only to the Village Corner residents, but once they're over in Village Corner, they can kind of knock on the door of our friends at Ossipee, who currently get their community television from nobody. And I don't think there's, as you all think about your contract conversation, I would strongly recommend that you give Atlantic Broadband the go-do to figure that out. Because I sensed when I left, and maybe you guys have sorted it out, I sensed when I left there was a little of this going on. And it's not a technical impossibility, I mean, it really isn't. But it's got to get sorted so that Timothy can start providing community TV service to our residents over there, and then can start to expand his community TV offering and reduce the burden of franchise fees paying for Wolfeboro Community TV exclusively. So I would strongly recommend you get that going. I think once you fix that, you have an opportunity as well, it's public news, that our friends in Brookfield are going to implement Atlantic Broadband, and they currently get community TV service from nobody. So the opportunity to partner with Brookfield and get community television service, get fees, reduce the burden on our franchise fees is something I would strongly recommend. You give ABB the technical, go figure it out. It's not hard. but let them do it. So that's my public input. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I just respond to that?
Sure.
Just to follow up on that, Paul, we did meet with them on Monday night, and we talked about that heavily. It is an action item that they're working on. We also have had a conversation with the other provider about the issue. So we're getting them in alignment to figure something out. It's them figuring it out and getting back to us what the solution is what we're waiting for right now. So, thank you.
Okay, any other public input? Any comment from the press? Hearing none, I need a motion to go into non-public session.
So move. Second.
Second. Brad?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Linda's yes. Luke?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Okay. Early night.